Hello, my friends. It is Carrie Konyha chiming in from my healing center today with an energy update for today's full moon in Gemini. How's everyone doing out there? In case you haven't noticed yet, I put up a video the other day about the overall energies for December. And so that is posted on my website. I do recommend looking at that, giving that a watch in regard to the overall energies happening this month and how we can use the energies to support our soul growth. And then in this video, we're going to take a closer in look at the energies that are showing up around this full moon. So before we really get into the details around this particular full moon, I want to rewind a little bit and remember what the energies were that were showing up around the most recent new moon that we had on November 23rd in the sign of Sagittarius. That's also the same day that Jupiter went direct. So we're in December now, and the energy themes around December, which I talked about in the December video that I uploaded the other day. Let's just remember, though, that the energy themes around December are around ultimately renewal. It's introspection, reconsideration, renewal. Healing themes are around purification, clearing, cleansing, letting go, releasing, and things like that. But we're not fully activated in those energies until we have the new moon in December, which is happening on the 23rd. So right now, let's remember that the full moon energies are still in regard to the new moon intentions that we set 2 weeks ago at the end of November with the new moon in Sagittarius. If you've been following these videos, you'll remember that we've been talking a lot about how the energies that have been building up over the past several weeks really are about us being supported in renewing our commitment to whatever we identify as being our highest and best life, being our best selves, and things of that nature. And so this full moon is a marker point, so to speak, where we're having one layer of culmination of those energies that we set in motion with our intentions on the new moon. So this is a little bit of a checkpoint. Remember that the full moons serve to illuminate our awareness. They also bring in a heightened expression of the energies that are connected to the new moon intentions that we set previous to this. And so it really feels like in alignment with the energies connected to the November new moon, which are very much about stepping into our truth and owning like a spiritual self-reliance, walking our talk, so to speak. I invite us all to just sort of review how that's been showing up for you over the past few weeks. And as we're coming into the full moon today, it's actually tonight and into the wee hours of the morning on the 8th, so depending on where you live in the world, it's happening at 9:08 p.m. here in Sedona. So if you're on the East Coast, that's like 11 p.m. Anyway, I just wanted to bring it full circle that where we're at right now gives us a point to do a little check-in with ourselves and to make any adjustments or points of refinement that we might want to make regarding those intentions that we set for ourselves a few weeks ago. So do a little check-in with yourself. Where am I at with those intentions that I set? How have I been working with the energies? What have the results been so far? And how can I optimize my focus in moving forward? And optimizing our focus and moving forward is a great energy theme connected to this full moon because the full moon is in Gemini. Gemini rules all things having to do with communication, thinking, studying, learning, socializing, interacting, This is a really great time on social levels to have deeper, more meaningful, intriguing, inspiring, thought-provoking, uh, intellectual, stimulating conversations with people. That's something that's in the air right now. And so on, again, social interaction levels, we might find that we're naturally experiencing those types of energies, which I think is great. And so with this full moon in Gemini, it gives us an opportunity to have more of a mental clarity of awareness around whatever our deeper churnings have been going on deep soulful ambition levels or on more emotional levels. This is a time where we can have a little bit of a break or reprieve from feeling emotionally triggered if that's something's been showing up for you, and it enables us to take a different angle in regard to whatever's been showing up on those inner planes that are coming up for healing or things that are guiding us on our direction. It's a time where we can have more of a grounded, non-emotionally reactive look at what's been going on the inside of us. It's actually a time where we can be emotionally detached, which can support us or help us on our journey in refining our plan, our vision, and moving forward. If you remember, the energy around this last new moon has been all about launching a new dream into action. So here we are at the full moon where we can sort of review where we're at with that and have a deeper level of refinement. Now, on everyday mundane levels, I'll say that we do have Mars in Gemini conjuncting this full moon, and that can bring an energy of feeling a little bit moody, feeling a little bit volatile, so to speak, and because it is the moon, which rules our emotions. And so this is a really good next few days to be extra mindful around our choice of words, our mannerisms of speaking. It's also a really good time to have some self-reflection around things that might be being triggered within you, and realizing, as always, that whatever comes up to be triggered, or whatever comes up in a trigger, is happening so that it can be healed and integrated. So I feel that this new moon illuminates our awareness in ways where we can observe what's going on with us emotionally from a non-emotional attachment or non-emotional trigger, which actually can be really helpful. This is a time, especially because Mercury, which is the ruler of Gemini, is in Capricorn. And it feels to me that this is like a perspective or a window to look into as far as how to best harness the energy around the Gemini full moon. To me, it feels like, okay, look to see where the Capricorn area of your chart is, because Gemini is going to be in that area now. And whatever house that's in can give you some insights as to a really good way to channel the analytical energy in ways that further support whatever new dream you're working on launching into action based on the previous new moon themes. For example, well, let me say this, and I've talked about this before on my videos. A really good way to learn astrology is to pay attention to how you're naturally feeling, how you naturally feel inclined to focus your energy, and then look to see what's going on with the astrology for an awareness of how to tie the two together. I'll use an example of my chart. So being that Mercury is in Capricorn right now, in my natal chart, I have Mercury in Capricorn in the 10th house. Hence all of the teaching and talking that I do. I've always loved teaching. I've always loved sharing information and knowledge ever since I was a kid. And a part of that is because I have Mercury in Capricorn in my 10th house. And the 10th house is connected to long-term goals, career, things like that. So in my natal chart, I do have a natural signature that would lend itself to teaching, speaking, writing, and things like that. So I'm bringing this up because I'm finding that for me, I'm naturally feeling like, okay, now is the time for me to streamline my focus and put a lot of energy into getting caught up with all of the administration aspect of my work that goes on behind the scenes, updating my website, setting dates for 2023 events, workshops, courses, things like that. So as we're coming into this full moon, even yesterday, I feel like I got like 2 months worth of admin work done in one day. And this is a really good example of how that Gemini energy, with the Gemini moon and then Mercury in Capricorn, can really benefit us. So for me, it was administration work because my Gemini in Capricorn natally is in my 10th house, which is what's being illuminated right now. You yourself could look to see, again, where the Capricorn sector of your chart is for an idea of how you might most benefit of streamlining that Mercury, Gemini type of energy that's showing up right now. Now, I want to talk about a few other things that are happening here. As I'm looking at the chart for the full moon, we have what's called a Tsquare. And that means that, you know, when you have a Tsquare, you have an opposition with another planet or point making a square on both aspects or ways, both directions of that opposition. So we have the sun and the moon opposing each other, as happens with every full moon. So this is, you know, contrasting our awareness between our outer self-expression and how we naturally gravitate towards discovering ourselves and our growth, which is the sun, and then our inner realm of unconscious things and our emotions and things of that nature. Both of these are squaring Neptune right now in Pisces. Neptune and Pisces, you know, let's talk about this. Each archetype that we work with, whether it's astrology or tarot or numerology, which really all of them are intertwined anyway. But each archetype always is going to have its higher, more aware octave level of expression, and then the lower vibrational octave of unconscious expression. And I'm talking about this because with the Neptune in the mix, making squares to both the sun and the moon, this gives us some insight as to, for example, with Neptune, where we have an opportunity to really shift into embracing our soul nature, embracing our intuition, which are things that are connected to Neptune. But on the lower vibration or unconscious level of Neptune, it can look like feeling lost in the mists of life, lost in the realm of the in-between, between our emotions and our mental states of being. It can feel like not feeling strong in making a grounded decision. It can look like foregoing what you really need for the sake of someone else, per se. So we want to be aware of these dynamics so that we can consciously choose to align with the higher vibrational octave. So with Neptune squaring both the sun and the moon, especially considering that Jupiter, which is almost conjunct, not quite, but almost conjunct Neptune that just went direct, also in Pisces, this really is a time where we can reclaim the power of our intuition, and or we can strengthen our connection to our intuition. As a lifelong psychic who's been teaching psychic development since the early 1990s, I want to remind us all that our intuition, look at it this way, our intuition is the language that our soul uses to communicate with us. So when we're using our intuition, we're simply listening to the messages that our soul has for us on those deep, deep levels. We're becoming conscious of the unconscious energies at play. And that is very much a part of the energies that are showing up around this full moon because of that square to Neptune. I look at squares in astrology, which are aspect points, as being little checkpoints, right? It's like, okay, we got to stop and do a little check. We can't really get there from here. So this is saying that in regard to our self-expression, our self-identity, which is connected to the sun in Sagittarius right now, we're being guided to check in with our intuition. How is our intuition guiding us along the lines of things connected to our self-identity, our self-expression, and the way that we learn about ourselves? Same with the moon, with the Neptune squaring the moon. How is Neptune and its ability to bridge a connection with our intuition, how that might that be connected to how we're feeling on the inside or plans that we're making around what our instinctive intuitions are? Because Gemini, again, is a lot about that communication aspect, and probably the best use of the energy right now with this full moon is going to be a lot about writing down your ideas, having flashes of insights and inspirations that you definitely want to jot down for future reference, getting clear on decisions that you want to make, making some plans. But then I also want to emphasize that right now is not the time for launching plans into action. It's more of a time of getting clear on what those plans are. And it's going to be after we get into January of 2023 is when the energy is going to start shifting in the direction of putting action to those plans. Because remember, right now, we're in December. It's about letting go, releasing, clearing, tending to our self-care, our self-nurturing, our self-healing. And it's while we're doing those things, as we're clearing away things that have been energetic obstructions or obstacles to our clarity, is when we're going to have those epiphanies of awareness. So this is a really good weekend, so to speak, to do some journaling around what your ideas are, what your goals are, and or for some of us, depending on the placement of, where the Capricorn sector of your chart is, it may be just a weekend to really get caught up on a lot of administration work, which is, again, what I've been doing on my level. So what else do I want to say here about the astrology? I'm just like looking down at the chart here. Oh yeah, I wanted to mention this. Venus, which is connected to our values, what we love, our self-worth, our self-love, our sense of how it is that we want to experience beauty in our lives on all levels holistically, right now is conjunct the galactic center, which is at 27 degrees Sagittarius. And the galactic center in astrology is looked at as almost like a portal in which we can, on deep unconscious levels, access transmissions of cosmic awareness from higher realms. In fact, that's also a part of this Sagittarius Gemini axis that we have going on between the sun and the moon right now. Gemini being about learning, studying, communicating in more everyday life ways. Sagittarius being about higher learning. Higher learning in a common way is considered to be learning, at college levels or higher. But we can also look at higher learning as learning through life's experiences, learning through a diversity of what we experience in life through our interactions with people. So there's this higher learning theme that is being strengthened also by the fact that Venus is conjunct the galactic center right now, which also has to do with higher learning in the way that our higher selves are receiving transmissions of higher awareness from higher planes of existence. So this is also a really good next few days or weekend to do some meditating. But I also recommend that we ground in whatever spiritual work that we're doing through journaling, reflecting, meditating, connecting with our higher self, connecting with our guides. We want to get grounded in that. We want to remain grounded and centered in the physical world. We want to take whatever those higher awarenesses or vibrations are that we're tuning into and embody them, so that these things are, these energies are what's inspiring eventually what we're going to be creating and manifesting. So physical movement is a great idea. In fact, one thing I haven't mentioned yet about the astrology is, as far as the elements are concerned, we have an emphasis on earth elements this week, with Mercury, Pluto, Uranus, and the North Node being in earth signs. And there's an emphasis on the mutable energies. So in astrology, we have cardinal, fixed, and mutable signs. Cardinal signs are the ones that are at the beginning of each season change. The fixed happen in the middle of each season, and the mutable happen at the end of each season. So the mutable signs are a lot about like an exhale, like surrendering, releasing, allowing, sort of allowing things to fall away that have served their purpose or whatever. So we have that energy theme as a dominant force this week, which makes sense because we're getting ready to move into winter. We're in literally the last few weeks of fall. Winter solstice happens on the 21st. I am going to chime in with a live video on that day as well, and we'll talk more about that, how to work with the energies. But remember, so we've always got like cycles happening within cycles. And so this full moon cycle is illuminating our awareness around how we can formulate a concrete choice, decision, idea, or plan in regard to the new dreams that we're launching into motion now from this last full moon. And I want to say here that just as a reminder that, you know, each new moon brings a new energy and it's a time to set a new intention. But it's not like once that new moon cycle is complete that we're forgetting about that intention and we're moving on to something new. No, these are things that we're cultivating cycles within cycles throughout the entire year, right? So the Sagittarius new moon 2 weeks ago is all about launching new arrows of intention in launching new dreams into our intention field. But it's not like we totally forget about that when this lunar cycle is over. No, we just move into a new phase of development. So this phase of development right now with the Gemini full moon is, okay, what's my awareness? How can I make a choice? How can I make a plan, set an intention that's going to further support that goal? And then again, as we get into January, the energy is going to start being a little bit more active because we're turning into another cycle of experience where the days are growing longer and we have more light. And so there's a little bit more of an ambitious energy showing up as early as January, which really is just a few weeks away. So as I said, in the December energy update video that I uploaded a few weeks ago, right now, literally right now, from now, December 7th through December 21st is the most empowering time of the entire year to complete whatever clearing, releasing, healing, purging, nurturing, nourishing self-care that you're feeling guided to do. This next few weeks is the most empowering, powerful, beneficial time to do it, because doing it now means that you're basically calibrating your energy so that you're living in alignment with the natural cycles and seasons of nature, not just agriculturally, but energetically as well. And if we continue to live in alignment with that throughout this coming year, all of our efforts will produce the most aligned results, as I often say. So this is a really good time to really tend to your self-care. Give yourself a little bit of extra spaciousness over the next few weeks, some breathing room, some relaxation time. Light some candles at night. Get your aromatherapy mister going. Light some incense, do some yoga, do some meditation, cozy up with yourself, enjoy cozying up with yourself, enjoy your own presence of connection with yourself, enjoy your own company, enjoy your self-love. Ultimately, that's what the bigger energy cycle is about right now. And then this full moon is really just illuminating our awareness of how we can make some decisions, or how we can set some plans down in ways that are going to support that as we're moving throughout the year. I feel like there's other things I could be saying with all of this right now, but at the same time, I feel like I've gotten out the big chunks. Spiritual self-reliance is a really good concept to be aware of. How much are you embodying your spiritual self-reliance? I have talked about this before because it's something that I really live my life by, but let's just explore. What does spiritual self-reliance mean to us? It can mean a few different things. Spiritual self-reliance means that you're living in your empowerment and you're trusting the guidance that comes through you daily enough to take action on it and trust that that will lead to or continue to enable you to thrive in, having what you need to achieve what you want to achieve, which is the true definition of abundance. Spiritual self-reliance also means that it's up to us. It's up to us to be the change that we want to see in the world. I know we've all heard that sort of cliche saying, but it's true. It's up to us. We are the ones that can make the changes in our life. And it's up to us to rely on our own inner guidance and trust that inner guidance enough to make the decisions that we need to make the choices that we need to make the actions that we need to make, all in alignment with what feels like divine timing for you, in order to continue to perpetuate your own personal journey of growth, healing, and awareness. I'm going to go ahead and read a few cards, so don't leave me yet here. I'm going to pull 3 cards for the collective, and we're just going to get some extra little messages here around, whatever wants to show up connected to the energies that are happening now and how to work with those energies. Okay, so here we go. And let me just see what wants to come up. Okay, here's 1, here's 2, and here's 3. I'm using my World Spirit Tarot by Lauren O'Leary. I love this deck, World Spirit Tarot. This is the 2nd edition. The 1st edition is a collector's item. I have that as well. There's supposed to be a 3rd edition coming out, so we'll see. Anyway, it's interesting that we have the Queen of Pentacles that's showing up reversed, which I'll talk about. We have the King of Cups and the Knight of Swords, which are called Seekers in this deck. So for one, I want to talk about the King and the Queen, because this can be likened to the sun and the moon. The sun can reflect our own inner sacred masculine. Sometimes, in fact, the sacred masculine is considered to be the solar aspect of us. This is where we're empowered in our self-expression. We're taking action. We're radiating our energy with confidence, certainty in the world. We're comfortable with the direction we're going. We're comfortable with making choices of changing directions and all of that. Where the moon is the feminine, sensing, feeling, being, allowing, dreaming, intuiting, holding space. So we have here the sacred feminine and the sacred masculine. The Queen of Pentacles reversed is really speaking to that spiritual self-reliance thing that I just spoke of. Because in the reverse position, this can indicate where, like, noticing, and this could be a part of what the Gemini moon is illuminating in our awareness, noticing where we have not been feeling empowered in our spiritual self-reliance, and using that as maybe our gateway or our starting point as far as what we want to work on empowering first. In fact, this is reminding me of this theme that's been coming up with some of my clients this past week. A lot of people are becoming aware of where they've been stuck in cycles of experiences in their life that they're just enduring, tolerating, or coping with. Okay? We're not here in life to tolerate or cope. We're here to thrive in our life. And it's up to us to realize. So this thing of, okay, where have I not been empowered in my self-reliance feels connected to that. Because when we're empowered in our self-reliance, we're not going to wither away and allow ourselves to be totally zapped of energy, because we're coping with less than vibrant experiences. Now, of course, in life, there's always ups and downs. We're not always going to be ecstatically thrilled and happy, right? There's always, life throws us curveballs. But we're all meant to be predominantly growing in a direction of expansion and upliftment. There's not one person in the world who is karmically obligated to endure anything that feels harmful, toxic, overall robbing of your energy or anything like that. Okay? So ask yourself how this might be showing up for you. And it could be in different ways. It could be your personal life, your professional life, what have you. The King of Cups here is talking about really mastering our leadership in regard to how our intuition informs us. The cups are a lot about intuition, especially intuition that is connected to being empathic, sensing, feeling. The kings are about being empowered in your leadership. So that is like a deeper dynamic that's coming in as sort of an underneath energy to support us. Perhaps as a way that we can empower our spiritual self-reliance could be in getting back on track with being in our empowered self-leadership, because we feel confident in how our intuition is guiding us. And then this, they're called seekers in this deck, but it's like the Knight of Swords showing up reversed. So when the Knight of Swords comes up upright, It can be reckless energy. It can be charging forward with a lot of different ideas, but just sort of ping-ponging around all of them, which actually is connected to one of the challenge aspects of this full moon in Gemini. We could have a lot of ideas going on, and we want to put a little bit of energy into all of those ways, but we don't want to become overly diversified, which is why I'm recommending look to see what the Capricorn sector of your chart is and funnel your energy in that direction, because of the fact that Mercury is in Capricorn right now. And that will give you a little bit more of a grounded way to streamline that energy, or funnel or channel that energy of ideas, creative inspirations that are coming up within the mind during this moon cycle as well. So when this card shows up reversed as it did, it feels like it's also about, rather than you going out and chasing life down with all of these little ideas that are coming up, again, stay grounded, be in your magnetism, check in with yourself. Where do I really feel naturally inclined to channel this energy? And how might me channeling this energy produce the effect of me becoming magnetic to the reality, the dream that I'm intending and creating for myself? We don't want to chase life down. Some people do really well with having a diversity of activities going on in their life. So it's not about paring down to the level where you feel not challenged or stimulated. We can have a diversity without being spread too thin. So for each of us, it's about finding that balance. But ultimately, wherever it is that you're feeling guided to channel that energy that's coming with the Gemini full moon, with all of the ideas, allow yourself to have inner self-reflection around that, be grounded, be methodical, rather than just getting caught up in the whim of the fanciful thoughts and ideas. Does that make sense? Okay, so I'm going to wrap it up there for today, but I invite you all to share in the comments below anything you'd like to share about how this energy has been showing up for you. It's a lot. It does feel intense, but to me, it feels good. It feels like this is like almost like the boost of energy that we've needed to ignite that fire of enthusiasm within us. The only angst is, especially with Mars and Gemini retrograde, is that we can't really leap into action. So there's this, okay, I've got all these ideas, I can't wait to do all these things I can, but then it's like, okay, well, I got to do this first, and this and this and this. So surrendering to that methodical approach that can be connected to that Capricorn energy, grounding in it, is really gonna bring us all into the best use of that energy. So play with it yourself and let me know how it works out for you. All right, I am gonna be off to teach a class pretty soon, so I'm gonna chime out here, but love you guys, and I'll see you in next week's live, which I'm not sure which day it's gonna be yet, but it will be probably exactly 1 week from today. By the way, if you're not connected with me on my social media channels, I'm on Instagram at my name, Carrie Konyha. On Facebook, you can either connect to the page that is connected to my healing center, Earth Wisdom Healing Arts, or my psychic soul guide page, Carrie Konyha, which is a holistic psychic on Facebook. Anyway, the reason I'm mentioning that is because I usually do post on Instagram or Facebook when I'm going to be going live, or what I'm doing, or what the offerings are. So if you ever need an early heads up on what's going on, just check out my social media pages. By the way, for those of you who are on my email newsletter, list, my email list. I did send out an email the other day with some special offerings that I've got going on for the new year. So if you didn't receive that, take a moment to stop by my website at holisticpsychic.com, sign up for my email newsletter. I typically just send things out like once a month maximum. I'm not going to share your email with anyone. And that way you'll get the update when I send it out again, or you can just take a look at my website to see what my offerings are for the next few months and in the coming year. Okay, guys, love you all. Take care. Blessings. Namaste. And I'll see you in the next video. All my love.